So Mafia The Old Country has been out for a few weeks now, and since I've had the time to thoroughly play through it, I wanted to see how it stacked up to its predecessors. This is not going to be really a review, but I will be talking about my experience with The Old Country and how it compares with the other games. I consider myself a newer Mafia fan, starting my journey way back in like 2016 with Mafia 3, and I didn't really play the other two until I think within the last year. I always assumed they were knockoff Grand Theft Auto games, and Mafia 3 really didn't help that assumption. But I'm glad to say that I was extremely wrong. While I am sure the GTA was the inspiration for the franchise, to compare them doesn't do Mafia justice. And after playing the first and second game, I can confidently say these games did a great job separating themselves from that comparison. Mafia The Old Country is a prequel to the entire franchise, with it starting 26 years before the events of Mafia 1. You play as Enzo Favara, a slave in the sulfur mines near the fictional city of San Celeste. After escaping the mines, he is picked up by the head of the Torrisi crime family, Don Bernardo Torrisi. I hope I'm not butchering that name. There, he works to earn his keep, forming strong bonds with other family members. He's eventually convinced to try to get out of the life and escape to Empire Bay, the city where Mafia 2 takes place. He went through a lot of hardships during this story, and while I won't get into any spoilers, I will say that I'm happy that the story was very short and concise, unlike Mafia 3, which kind of dragged. The pacing was similar to Mafia 1 and 2, and I enjoyed it. I did notice that this game, as well as the first two games, share similar starts. Enzo, Tommy D'Angelo, and Mafia 2's Vito Scaletta were all kind of forced into mobster life. Enzo was running away from one family right into the arms of another, same for Tommy. Vito's father died with debt, and joining the Mafia was the only way he could think of to help pay the debt and protect his family. Mafia 3's Lincoln Clay, on the other hand, was already a part of his adoptive father's family, the Black Mob, but he was trying to avoid that life before he was forced to stay. But now the question is, how does the old country's narrative compare to its predecessors? Honestly, I think they did a good job. It was short, engaging, and didn't overstay its welcome. I enjoyed it more than Mafia 2, but not more than 1 or 3. Enzo as a character was enjoyable, but to me, he lacked charisma that the others had. He was very much a soldier and didn't really have any shining moments that got me excited for what he was doing. And it's not even his fault. It's just the character that he is. He grew up a slave with no other ambition other than to escape the mines, and once he did and joined the family, he only worked hard because he wanted to prove his worth because, they saved his life. It wasn't until the end of the game that he really showed any serious motivation to do anything. And if I'm honest, he really didn't come up with that on his own. He was pushed to do it. Still, narrative was great. I enjoyed it. Still. I have one small complaint about it. At the start of the game, Enzo had a companion named Gaetano who appeared to be a close friend of his. You'd never know that though, because after he died at the start of the game, he was never mentioned again until the end of the game. Despite that, Enzo kept the card that Gaetano's uncle gave him about Empire Bay, and he never talked to anyone about him. It just felt kind of weird that he died and nothing was mentioned about him ever. But in the end, it wasn't a big deal. It's still a great story, and I'm glad they avoided the issue with pacing that Mafia 3 had. The next thing I want to talk about is the game's art direction and how the game runs on PC. Now, I'm no expert on this, but I think it goes without saying The Old Country is the best looking Mafia game. To say otherwise is just being delusional. They went for a realistic look like in the remake without going overboard, but really it's the small details that catch my attention. But honestly, it's no surprise to me because Hangar 13 has always done a great job when it comes to visuals. However, when it comes to bringing their games to PC, for some reason there's always some kind of issue. Thankfully this time, I can't put all the blame on them. The Old Country runs on Unreal Engine 5, and a lot of games that use it experience technical issues. But as far as I know, I didn't encounter any gameplay issues when I played, but I did experience some extreme stuttering when the game transitioned from cutscene to gameplay and vice versa. I fixed this by turning off the Unreal TSR, whatever that is. I have no idea what it did, but it stopped the stuttering. Another issue I was having was occasionally I would be seeing after images while moving. I don't even know what was causing it, but it happened randomly and it made me feel like I was watching JLU Flash running. Other than those two issues, the game ran fine. Granted, I have a powerful PC, so maybe that has something to do with it. But if it wasn't for the definitive edition of Mafia 2, this would be the most polished Mafia game on PC. I encountered a game-breaking bug in Mafia 1, and in Mafia 3, it's just riddled with bugs. So I give the team credit for doing a great job with The Old Country, even while dealing with the unruly Unreal Engine 5. Now, the gameplay is where this game really shines. If you play the remake of Mafia 1, then this will feel very familiar. The movement is about the same. The gunplay, in my opinion, is not as good as the remake, but they made switching through items and weapons more streamlined by getting rid of the pausing tool wheel. Driving cars is about the same, but I'd argue that The Old Country is better. They made stealth a little more important in this game, and I personally didn't really care for it. Stealth doesn't come to mind when I think about the Mafia. It made sense in Mafia 3 since Lincoln was a highly trained special forces soldier, but it's not really a big deal. Really, the only issue I had was done to myself. As a PC player, aiming with the controller is no longer second nature to me, so I relied on the snap aiming feature to make combat easier. And it is strong. All I had to do was aim and let the game do the rest for me. You can, of course, turn this off if you want to. I thought about doing it, but I wanted to have fun. Make no mistake, while I'm not a pro player, I'm definitely no scrub when it comes to shooters. But when playing third person action adventure games, I just prefer to use a controller. By default, it's just more comfortable for me. Overall, the controls, while not better than the Mafia 1 remake, is still very good. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is this game's pacing, which is fantastic. It only took me 13 and a half hours to beat this game, and I enjoyed every minute of it. The gameplay doesn't feel bloated or padded out. It's nice and tight. Again, they learned their lessons from Mafia 3 and went back to the linear storytelling format with an open world. What that means is that while technically you can explore the area around San Celeste, the game keeps you on a singular path. There are times where you can explore the world, but aside from a few collectibles, there really isn't anything going on. No side quests, no random encounters. It feels like a lived in world. You have villages with people doing daily tasks and talking to each other. None of them are swimming, though. I know modern gamers expect every single open world to have things for you to do aside from the main story, but the Mafia games have never ever operated that way. All the missions you did were related to Mafia activities. There was no real reason for you to go out and explore the world to do other things. I'm pretty sure that's how it was in real life. The only exception to this would have been Mafia 3's DLC. Now, don't get me wrong, I do wish they would add some random encounters. It would make things a little bit more fun. Nothing crazy, but something similar to LA Noire where you can be driving towards your main objective, but something comes up causing you to take a quick detour. But, maybe next game. At the end of the day, I think Mafia The Old Country stands up pretty well against the rest of the games. It's short, it's fun, aside from a few issues with Unreal 5, it's put together pretty well, and it's reasonably priced at $50. Hopefully, Hangar 13 continues with this and continues to make more Mafia games. But that's going to be it for me. If you enjoyed this video, hit the thumbs up button, leave a comment down below with your thoughts about this game. Subscribe if you want to see more videos like this, and I'll see you in the next one.